Okay, so I'm Maya, and I just wanted to start before I start the poem, I just wanted to say that my poem is actually about emotional abuse that a lot of women face from patriarchal father figures in the family. Okay, it's called Don't My Darling, as Molly said, and it's divided into two parts. So I'll begin now. Part one. Don't talk about love, my darling. Good girls don't do that. Instead, they go about their lives pretending boys don't exist and love is a language never to learn. Don't say no to a marriage, my darling. Good girls don't do that. Because once upon a time, boys didn't exist and now they do. And one of them is soon going to penetrate you. And you are not allowed to say no. Because we gave you your life and now it is your turn to pay us back with a child we get to flaunt as ours. Don't speak up, my darling. Good girls don't do that. Instead, they spend their lives remembering how they don't have a voice loud and a mind clear to ever raise an opinion. Don't keep quiet, my darling. Good girls don't do that. Because a girl who is quiet is a girl who thinks. And how can you do that when we are alive yet to dictate to you your thoughts and your words? So speak up, my darling, lest you embarrass us again by being the girl who is so quiet. She is probably insane. Don't go out in the dark, my darling. Good girls don't do that. Instead, they stay in their rooms, cowered in a corner, scared of the invisible rapists and possible killers lurking in the darkness. Don't stay inside, my darling. Good girls don't do that. Because how can you be cooped in all day when the people outside are tumbling to listen to every word you say? Except every time you try to make them understand what you think and why, they don't hesitate to laugh back. Because who are you telling them what's not right and what's not? So just don't be, my darling. Good girls don't do that. Because to be is to exist, and to exist is to think and know and want, and those are the things girls who are good haven't got. So just don't be. Because if you be, then you're spending moments pretending you're not a nobody. And if you use your life to do that, well then, we've got to spend every moment of ours reminding you of what you are, because you are what you are only because we were there to carry you in our arms, because you drowned once and we ensured that you could be saved. And so without us, there would never have been a girl standing here today, pretending she hasn't got things that made her afraid. So thank us for letting you live, dear darling, and for not killing you when we could. And thank us for letting you fulfill your dreams, but only if those dreams are on our terms, discussed and understood. And thank us for letting you stay in a house with people who let you do what you want if what you want is determined by us. So thank us, why don't you, my darling? And if you can't, just don't be. Part 2. Don't belittle yourself, my darling. Good girls don't do that. They know their worth even when they have been told since their birth how they are nothing but a burden to this earth. Don't stop dreaming, my darling. Good girls don't do that. Don't you remember that time when you believed you could fly and survive every crisis with a painless smile? Don't think you're any less, my darling. Good girls don't do that. They learn to believe in themselves even when they're constantly compelled by the whole world to think they are someone else. Don't cry yourself to sleep, my darling. Good girls don't do that. Just because you think it is the end of the world, it doesn't have to mean the situation can't be turned. Have faith, you will be heard. Don't be a cliche, my darling. Good girls don't do that. They say yes when he proposes, smile when he brings them roses, don't object when he tries to have his way, and every time he asks them to stay, they never go away. Yet at the same time, they don't fall for boys who go about making a lot of respectful noise. And when those boys tell them things they have never heard enough, like how they're clever and smart and astute, we stand to tell them it is not love. Who will you trust amongst all of us? The people who want your good or the boys who are with you for your goods? If you say boys, we'll just end the matter then and there, for you are being ignorant and unfair. Love is not in the words they say, my darling, for only we can love you like that, charm you with our anger, always keep you in our tracks. And the only boy who manages to touch you will have to pass a rigorous test. But then, for him, it's all easy. If he owns a house and his income is steady, it doesn't matter anymore then. If your happiness doesn't lie with him, everything fails when it comes to money. How do you not know that already? And when all is done and gone, don't you forget where lies your true home. It's in our words and in our arms, wrapping around you like invisible thorns. So understand, my darling, all the things I can't say aloud. Your life is nothing but a paradox, and your world up and about for mocks. So every time you do any of this, just ask yourself a simple thing. If you have a daughter one day, would you want her feeling this way? And if you answer me no today, why don't you go and remind yourself the same? So understand, my darling, that the world is yours for memorizing, even if they tell you otherwise, because you are someone with your own light. And every time they treat you less, strip your armor and call you a mess, use your words wisely next and show them how you are truly no less than a goddess.